Hi, it's Cable X. Today's date is the 20th of August 2025. I'm discussing the recent release of Lucy Connolly, who supposedly was convicted of for incitement to violence. It involved her. She basically, what happened was she got sentenced last year for incitement. Yeah. Sorry, I'm repeating myself. Sorry, for incitement to racial hatred or violence because of what happened in Southport involving this young boy, young British African boy who stabbed 3 children, and then she reacted by saying just burn down those hotels that are housing migrants or whatever. But what I realized I knew about this name, but I never really paid much attention to her, if I'm honest. But then I seen the face, I'm like, oh my god, she looks like another agent provocateur or actor, if you like, Lucy Connolly. So this is her. She was in sentence October 17th. She spent a good amount of time in prison. I mean, this is like a full description. On 29th of July 2024, Lucy Connolly, then 41, a child minor and the wife of a conservative West Northamptonshire councillor. Isn't that ironic, isn't it? Posted on Twitter calling for hotels housing asylums to be set alight. X said he didn't violate the rules. Well, this is hypocritical, isn't it? You can talk about lots of things and it's called free speech, but when you try to talk about the real truth, you are called either a racist or an anti-Semite or denial or worse. But if it's about immigration, it's about Muslims, or it's all about the whole immigration issue. You can say these things. No, I'm not saying those kind of things are not penalised either, but it's just that some people, particularly influencers like Tommy Robinson, Julie Hartley Brewer, Alison Pearson's Daily Telegraph. I'm highlighting these names because these people seem to think that this person was in the wrong, but the whole thing is a psyop anyway. I'll explain later why. Then she was charged. It says that she was charged with publishing written material which was threatening, abusive, insulting. She supposedly didn't enter a plea, but then she got custody on 12th of August. She pleaded guilty, by the way, which is what happened to her. Yeah, she pleaded guilty on September 2nd, 2024. Distributing material with the intention of stirring up racial hatred, according to the Public Act 1986. She had a hearing in Birmingham Crown Court. And she appeared in the Nottingham Magistrates Court. Well, guess what? That's where I live. I live in Nottingham, and that Magistrates Court is not far from where I live anyway. She was released on the 21st of August 2025, which was not long ago. It's 28 now, so like 7 days ago. So what's interesting? This is like the day she first. Just reminding you. That's the day she posted that tweet, and this is the day she got released. 1 year, 3 weeks, 3 days. Isn't it interesting? 133. The word government is 133. And the dedication, this whole thing is a staged theatrical psyop. Serves one purpose: get you rattled, get you angry, get your emotions high and all that. Just talk about shit that's not really important. Hi, well, hello there. So anyway, government equals 133. The word agent is 47, the word government is 47, and Lucy Connolly's name, because we're talking about Lucy Connolly, is 47. So she's an agent by all counts. I don't care what anyone says. She's an agent. And before I continue, let me just show you something here. I mean, here's a picture of her. I mean, when I I mean, I see when she what she looked like beforehand. She was a bit skinny, but then she comes out of prison and she looks like she's put on a weight. But here, the one thing that comes across, and I don't care what anyone says, she literally looks like a drag queen wearing women clothing. I mean, look at the way she's walking. It's not a female gait, it's a male gait. Like straight legs, knees together, feet between spaces. I mean, there's again. I mean, look at this picture. It just looks like a man with a ponytail on it. Then using the skull overlays. Yeah, I'm going to show you this. I mean, look. I mean, look. I use a software called CapCut, which is on Play Store. You can download it yourself. And I use this, and look, male skull symmetrically matching. And then female skull, not so much matching. I just think this person is a man, if I'm being honest. But I shouldn't say that, innit? I'm offending people, supposedly. But she's a piece of shit. And look, it is a good post here. British citizen Mother Lucy Connie is to free speech what her husband was to, you know what. An actor cast to screw you over. Well, that's what it is. Masonic theatre for lemmings who still believe what they see on television. Well, that's the point. People tend to believe what they see on television. If they won't believe what the government says, what the mainstream says, they'll believe what the likes of Tommy Robinson says, or what the likes of other people say as well. Other people that are on that particular persuasion, far right supposedly. I mean, they all work together: far right, far left, liberal, communist, fascist. Conservative, libertarian, whatever political ideology you think you are aligned to, they work for the same people. They do. And look, it says here that her husband was the first person to have this mythical plague on him. Again, I'm using selective words here because it's very hard to say anything about this particular, but the C word. You can't say the C word. I'm not trying to say the V word. He was the first to have the V word. I mean, that's what she looked like before, and then look at her now. Yeah, it doesn't look like a person that's in prison. I mean, if anything, I believe anytime you see someone promoted in the media for a considerable amount of time, it's usually the case they are agents. And I believe she's agents, and it's most likely she didn't even really go to prison. But that's a whole new matter. That's a bit like the O.J. Simpson thing, Cosby, and I don't think these famous people who are famous or become famous to go to prison. It's all theatre movie you're watching unfold. It's a bit warm in the car. God damn it. I'm trying to open the door. Yeah, just a bit warmer now. Yeah. As I was saying before. Yeah, I was saying before, I think the whole thing is staged. It really is. I mean, she's everywhere. I mean, let me just Google it, for example. Lucy Colony. Let's see, Daily Telegraph. I believe there was another journalist that was also supporting her, Carol Malone. She used to work for the Mirror. I don't know if she still works for the Mirror now. Telegraph. I mean, these people, if I remember, they were supposedly anti-lockdown. I mean, here she is again. I mean, I mean, I don't think I'm going to play this video. She's called a political prisoner. I beg to differ. I don't think you are the first political prisoner in Starmer's government. And by the way, I'm not even any way supporting Starmer, because they're all globalist puppets at the end of the day. I mean, here she is, Alison Pearson. Yeah. I'm supposed to believe this person is a political prisoner. I mean, let's for the sake of argument assume that she's real, that she was a victim of a conspiracy. But if she is innocent, then why did she plead guilty then? Someone explain to me, why did she plead guilty if she really is a political prisoner? The answer quite simply, she's not a victim of anything. All she is a state intelligence asset, in my opinion. Just like Tommy Robinson is, just like all these people are just engaged in psyops and division and all that. Hey Jono, how you doing? Yeah, I did I don't know if you yeah, of course, yeah, of course, yeah, of course, yeah. She is a plant. I totally agree.
To all the people that, you know, jeering that I was sent to prison, think it's a good thing, think it's funny, hope that they broke me while I was in there, but I'm here to tell you that they didn't.
I wasn't going to play that. That was not my intention, but since I did, I'll play a bit of it.
You've been Keir Starmer's political prisoner? Absolutely. Different officers do it different ways, but they can really hurt you if they want to, and they decided on that day they were going to really hurt me, and I mean really hurt me.
Lucy Connolly.
Hi.
380 days in prison for a tweet written in the heat of the moment.
Here's a question for Alison Pearson. If this person was saying free Palestine, for example, and supposedly said I don't know, death to the IDF. I'm not saying I endorse that phrase, by the way. Say for example she said that, would they put her in prison, and would these people support her? I very much doubt it. It's very, I mean, just playing devil's advocate, would they support her if she was pro-Palestine? Most likely not the case. They wouldn't support her, or she was anti-war person. No, she didn't. Or again, it's all politics, isn't it? But on the grand scheme of things, it's all staged. This whole thing. I mean, she as well.
For a wife, mum.
I mean, look, she's gonna get. You're gonna see her everywhere. You are. You probably might see her on Infowars for all I know, Infowars, or even on David Icke's iconic show. You might see her there with Gareth Icke. Very strange that David Icke exposes Tommy Robinson, but then his son Gareth Icke happens to interview Tommy Robinson. Believe it or not. I mean, there's another picture I want to highlight. Okay. Again, you know how I said that I believe she's probably a man, a drag queen. I mean, look, she looks more like a drag queen in that picture than she does in any picture, and that's her husband, who's a Tory councillor supposedly. I mean, look how big. Well, who's got the bigger head, bigger skull? It's going to be the one on the left, isn't it? I mean, there's another picture again. I mean, look at her. I mean, really? You want me to believe these people are on our side? I'd think not. I really don't believe they are. I mean, here's a picture of her, what she looked like beforehand, and now look at her. I mean, look, the martyrdom of Saint Lucy. I mean, what the hell is she a saint? How the fuck is she a saint? Sorry, I swore. How the hell is she a saint? Yeah, Tommy Robinson. Yeah, well, yeah, of course. Oh, that's Alison Pearson. Yeah, it's funny how you. It's funny. Yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, Alison. On whose side? Oh well, I tell you. I tell you what. All right. There's Farage. There's Pierce on the Telegraph. There's that other guy from the Reform. Forgot his name. Not that it matters though. If I was talking about him, they're all controlled. All sides of this debate, whether it's for or against her, they're all controlled. They're all controlled. That's what you got to understand. They're all controlled. Really, Farage? You're gonna go to U.S. Congress? Champion a story? Yeah. Jono. Don't say that. Don't use the J word. You say, well, let me put it this way. You can't say the J word. Can't say the C word or the V word. But I'll say this. I mean, I'll say this. We're being played by both on all sides. We really are. I mean, I do have a screenshot somewhere highlighting this to be the case. Where is that? Where is that infamous? Where's that? Where is it? What was I gonna find? Yeah, this is what I meant to. Yeah, that not the long one. That's a good one that I showed before. So I've got a very good infographic that shows who's controlling who's pulling whose muscles. Oh look, GB News. This is from a guy called TJ. I believe he's from the UK. TJ, shout out to you. GB News is funded by Soros and Bill Gates through Legatum. Any media organization that has a broadcasting license is controlled. True story. Yeah, that's a bit funny, so I do apologise. It's got 60 million pounds of new capital injection. Yeah, Legatum. British head for the manager Paul Marshall. So how do people assume GB News is independent when it clearly isn't? It's no more independent than Fox News. GB News is basically the British Fox News. That's what it is, really. Tommy is the man. Oh, Tommy is the man. I'm sorry, he's not the man. Alright, I'm not going to make it about Tommy Robinson, but since we're on Tommy Robinson, I'm going to have to educate you on Tommy Robinson. Now, it's going to take me a while to find some material on him, because I got so much screenshots. Expose the enemy. Expose. Yeah, I believe this guy. He's John Swin. He's a British guy. Like we are. Tommy Robinson. Not his name, by the way. I know. We refer to him as Tommy Robinson, but it's not his name. It's his character name. Oh, here it is. Tommy Robinson is a mouthpiece for the billionaires connected to Trotsky neocons that carried out 9/11 and are behind the war on terror. Yeah, now line's coming up, by the way, in 2 weeks' time, isn't it? This free Tommy Psyop. This is an old tweet, but it's a relevant tweet. Orchestrated by the same people that attempt to destabilize the UK. So look at this this chart. Look, that's Laura Loomer. She looks like a Monday, don't she? And this is Tommy Robinson, Shillman Fellow, works for Rebel Media, which is a Canadian alternative media outlet. A regular InfoWars guest. InfoWars, by the way, is a is controlled by the Mossad. For those that have not researched the entire InfoWars operation, it's controlled by Mossad because Alex Jones has Zionist advertisers on his platform, if I dare say that. And look at all these other people that are connected to Tommy Robinson: Laura Loomer, Jack Posobiec, Pamela Geller, anti-Islam tranny, dare I say. Came to this guy, Horowitz, another shady figure, and Spencer, another shady figure. All these different foundations that fund these different groups. Yeah, Robert Spencer, he's a very important figure. Hedge fund billionaire, co-CEO of Renaissance Technologies. He's a guy that was the main head of Cambridge Analytica, which has ties to the Brexit Psyop and the Russian Gate Psyop. Then you got this woman here, Wozenwald. Yeah, all Zionists here you're looking at. Look, here he is again. He works for Zionist billionaires. He's tied to multiple Zionist billionaires who are some of the most powerful people in the world. Tommy's narratives and talking points align with their agenda. Obviously, I don't tend to think it's Zionist per se. It's not as simple to say it's Zionist because you got someone at the top of Zionism and then other movements as well. He says the EDO was established by neocon Frank Gaffney through Christine Brim. They manufacture all the anti-Islam propaganda through their network. They create and fund him and employ him. So, let's go here. Sorry, yeah, never mind. Let me go back here. Let's look at the comments here. I'm trying to look for your messages, people. Well, that's not true. GBs are funded by, I think, tests from Tufferston Street. Well, I'm not an expert on GB News, on who funds who, but obviously they're not going to have one person funding, they're going to have multiple people. Well, Soros is one of them. Soros... Oh, crazy. Well, I just showed you some research. You should look into it, Daniel. I don't know why you defend GB News. Every single rival team is playing on London, September 13th. Yeah, by the way, September 13th is the day that Tupac Shakur was announced dead. Because he got shot on September 7th and then, 6th, was it 7th or 6th? Then he died on September 7th. He was announced dead on September 13th. When money is, well, that's right, you can, it's out there, go and research which funds GB News. Main share, well, Farage is the main shareholder. Well, I wouldn't doubt he is, but Soros' links to GB News, it's not made up. I ain't making it up. Look, I'm on here again. If you don't believe me, you should contact this guy. Don't take my word for it. I'm just passing the message. Legaterm. That's what he said. Legaterm. Of course, they've got shareholders. I mean, Farage might be the biggest one or the largest one. He might be, or one of them. But there's no way in hell you're gonna get. I mean, there's no way in hell that you're gonna be independent. You're not. You're gonna be funded by someone. I mean, since I'm on the subject of TJ, let me just go on his. Let me go on his Twitter. I mean, he's from the UK, so you should pay attention to him. His conclusion is quite slightly different about who's running who. He says it's the Catholic. He says it's the Jesuits, the Crown, City of London Crown, and the Vatican City. I tend to be sympathetic to those arguments. Trevor Jukes, that's his name, Trevor Jukes. Trevor There he is. Hey, hello, Trevor. He does impeccable work. He does. He really does. All right, let's go to GB News. I mean, look, he's got funded by the Legatum Institute. I think that has been self-funded by Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation. Well, aren't they the ones that promote the you-know-what? This is highlighting the Jesuit network. Yeah, if you know your history, you know that many ex-directors of the CIA are all Knights of Malta. Knights of Malta, which is a very old organization going back nearly thousands of years almost. And this is what he says. All land in this world is owned by the Crown, established 1185, as decreed by its own Roman law since the 12th century and not the monarch. The city, the Crown Corporation of London, established 1191 AD. Isn't that ironic? 119911. Created and owned by the Crown, which controls it fully via the Crown's liveries. I mean, he's got the receipts to prove what he's saying. He's not making shit up. When most people think of the Crown, they think of the royal family. Well, it's not the royal family, the Crown. It is a reference to the Crown at the Temple Bar, which resides in the city of London. This area is where many lawmakers and bankers operate from. Indeed, those who ascribe to a worldwide conspiracy of elite overlords controlling everything that the Crown is one of the central operating locations. He does say as well that's one of the pillars of the ultimate power, which is the ruling dynasty which ruled the ancient Roman Empire. It all goes back to the Roman Empire, the families of the Roman Empire, and the Crown, or the Crown Temple. They created all these different ideologies: feudalism, capitalism, Marxism. You see different flavors of these occupying power now. I mean, after all, Starmer does have a Marxist background. He comes from a Marxist background going back in the 80s, which is communism. Then you have the Tories, who might espouse a free market utopian type ideology, but it's really fascism, where corporations ultimately just rule over the state. Farage isn't telling you the truth, he's a shill. Okay, here's something else. Chatham House created the European Union. It is false to say that the UK is controlled by unelected bureaucrats in Brussels, which is what Farage always used to say. I did somewhat used to believe him at first, but I realised it's not entirely accurate. Without acknowledging that the EU was Chatham House's creation to federalise Europe and the main reason for World War II and Germany's destruction, the General Secretariat of the Council of European Union and European Commission are both corporate members of Chatham House. So look, that's the corporate members of Chatham House. You've got all these different European institutions. The Guardian is there too. Chatham House is a very important think tank roundtable group, and their sister organisation is this Council of Foreign Relations, which is based in the United States. All right, Farage. Okay. Again, I'm not challenging you on the Farage thing. I'm just trying to say that. GB News is not independent. Neither is Tommy Robinson. None of these people are out for your interest. They simply don't care about you. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, there's that two earlier I mentioned again. Looks like there's a clear one here. Now this is showing. Let me just go back here. I mean, this is from the website Legatum, which has is a major shareholder. They injected money into GB News. Then you discover this Alliance for Responsible Citizenship, ARC. Then you have these people: Paul Marshall of hedge fund, Marshall I can't say that name. Marshall Wassey, or Marshall Wass, was given $25 million started from George Soros. See, that's why the person that tweeting this is saying Soros ties to GB News, because he gave money to this guy. Yeah, he gave money to this guy to start up his company, hedge fund. And then you got Legatum here, located in Dubai with registration in Cayman Islands, operating globally. So it's a big nest out there. I mean, it's hard to find any independent media organisation anywhere. It really is. Now this is saying that it was the British Empire that created Zionism. A detailed document there. Okay, he's got the same tweets there. What's this? What? Oh, this is reference to the Kalergi plan, and he kind of shows that the Kalergi plan is in collaboration with the Rhodes-Milner Pan-Europa. If you're familiar with Rhodes, it's Cecil Rhodes. He's the guy that started all the around. His name is he was a British imperialist who had his own was it diamond mine or whatever it was, South Africa. People involved in Pan-Europa, which is a Rhodes-Milner, because Rhodes-Milner is relevant because they are ties to the whole globalist agenda. Kalergi, Leopold Amari, Rhodes-Milner. Some of these names I can't even say. Walter Lippmann, a journalist. I believe he was a journalist. Churchill and Mussolini. Funding by Kalergi was organised by Rothschild. So when people say Kalergi's kind of exposing the plan, he's a plant. You see, the whole orchestration of immigration. There's a lot to be read here, so I won't go in it too much. So this whole like I said before, I'll say it again, both sides are being played. Whether you oppose immigration, whether you are against immigration, you're being played. So nothing ever goes anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I think they're all intertwined. That's what it comes down to. They're all intertwined. All these different ideologies we speak of. It's very hard to find anyone in the mainstream that isn't controlled, whether it's journalists, politicians, and media pundits, because they act like they're independent when they're not. Look here, the devil is in the detail. Trump works for the Crown, Temple City of London, and has been installed to build America's digital prison. This is reference to the whole push for a digitized society, or system, if you like. Then you got Peter Thiel, the guy from PayPal, involved in this as well. Thiel's boss, Sir John Sawyers, member of the Bilderberg Group, Royal Institute of International Affairs, CFO, former MI6 chief, Sir John Soares is part of the ruling dynasty as he is descended from the Stratford family via his maternal grandmother. Prison disguised as freedom cities. Yeah, the whole freedom of cities thing is not about anything that's supposedly good. It's not. They don't do anything they do. Any solutions is not for the good of mankind or good of the people. It's all about control, ultimate control. And it was once stated that that China was the model state, because in China is a very heavily restrictive state. It is an absolute police state there. They got cameras everywhere. They got facial recognition everywhere in China, in their cities mainly, at least. They record your face, they record your eyes, they record everything what you're doing, and they have something called a social credit score, where if you be a good citizen, it improves your credit. If you don't be a good citizen, your credit goes down to 0. I mean, at least that's what my understanding is. This also highlighting the Russia conflict, and as well as the Israel-Gaza conflict. They're all manufactured, because Chatham House has its branches in many countries, including in Russia. They've got their own Russian Chatham House. Putin was president by MI6. Well, that was confirmed by what's his name? Richard Tomlinson. He says Putin is MI6. I mean, he's a former spy, so he's gonna know. Even though his stuff about Diana is wrong, because he says Diana was killed, but even though I believe it was a fake death. And the Central Bank of Russia is referred to the BIS, the central bank of all central banks, created in 1930 by the Crown via Rose Milner, Shout Dawes, Coolidge and Young. Chartered by the Crown, the Rose Milner itself. Rhodes Milner itself. The same establishment that funds both Churchill and Hitler are the same establishment that owns all political parties, including for Rogers Reform. You don't get to act on the establishment stage unless you're an establishment actor, no exceptions. Let's talk about the Catholic Church Jesuits. Here he is with the Catholic Church. Sorry, Knights of Malta. Well, same thing, I guess. Not only funded by the Knights of Malta, but also by the Vatican, placing him in power. So yeah, it's true that it was private banks that funded him, and you got his ties to the British intelligence, I believe, because he spent a few years residing in Liverpool. This was confirmed by his sister-in-law, his English sister-in-law, because he had an English wife, supposedly. But the Vatican placed him in power. For example, Knight of Malta Franz von Papen from the Centre Party helped Nazis to receive political power in the German Parliament. There's more pictures of him with all these Jesuit Catholic Church people here. I mean, look, here is Zelensky meeting with the late Pope Francis. I mean, look, why have they both got crosses there? Nice and Malta crosses. I mean, it's a joke that this guy, by the way, I should highlight it. It's a joke this guy is considered a, what's the word? He's considered a politician, a war hero almost. He's standing up to the great bully Putin of Russia, even though he is an actor, a comedian. Yeah, a stand-up comedian who did a video where he's dancing like an absolute clown in the weirdest manner possible. I can't use the other word either, in case I'm accused of something. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, it is a deep rabbit hole. It is. No, I mean, I'm really going out. I mean, this was a gematria video, but obviously I'm expanding it a bit, putting other topics aside. All right. Every single figurehead opposition spokesman in the public now, aka on the Empire stage, no exceptions, meaning that they're just all controlled. That's what he's saying here. Yeah, he was responding to. People were. This was like 5 days ago. God save Great Britain. They were tweeting about Lucy Connolly, and it says here that they will meet with Trump officials to reveal truth about a case and lack of free speech in the UK. Well, it's true. Free speech is even trying to express yourself is becoming harder and harder and harder, whether it's online, whether it's in the public arena. It's true. But why is it that some free speech, it's all right to moan about that you can't express yourself but when you try to, sorry, let me say that again. Why is it that some free speech is acceptable to moan about, but when some people want to speak about a certain topic, they are shut down and they have the law running on against them, or they get harassed, or worse? This is hypocritical. Free speech should mean you should be allowed to say what you want, just as long as it's not in a violent nature. I mean, for example, to me, free speech is free speech when you can insult a whole religion, or insult the prophet of religion. I'm talking about Islam, by the way, in case you know, because I'm a Muslim myself. I mean, personally, I'm not in favour of any religion being insulted, of any religious figure in any religion being insulted. I'm not in favour of those things. I'm not in favour of insulting people, period. But if these free speech advocates think it's all right, okay, fine. Fine. If you want to, if you think it's reasonable to insult historical figures, religious figures in history, fine. But then, by the same token, I should be allowed to insult members of the royal family. Well, no, for far as I know, you can't do that on national television because it'll get complaints, wouldn't it? At least that's what would happen. I mean, that kind of debate was highlighted years ago on the Big Questions on BBC. Don't watch the BBC. It's the British bullshit corporation, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah. This is Trevor saying, once again, anyone believing this theatrical bullshit is part of the problem. Well, anyone that votes, anyone that consumes the Tommy Robinsons, Julie Hartley-Brewers, the Karen Malones, the Alison Pearsons, the Daily Telegraph, the Reform Party, Farage, Trump, InfoWars, the whole entire conspiracy crowd, whether it's the so-called right-wing alternative media or so-called left-wing alternative media, anyone that doesn't tell you what's really going on in the world is a shill, as far as I'm concerned. Controlled opposition. I mean, look, GB News again was set up to catch the gullible fake awake. It doesn't prove that nothing will. GB News has some of the same funners as fake ass for Farage. Well, I started to realise he was a fake right after the Brexit vote happened. And by the way, I did vote to leave the European Union. Looking back, I should have just not voted at all, because the referendum is just like voting for which party you want in power, which is that they both control both sides. And at the time, I didn't really do any research onto the whole Brexit thing. I know both sides were. I knew both sides were controlled. I just didn't know how deep the manipulation was, because that's what it was, manipulation. Because ultimately, it doesn't even matter if we're in the EU or out the EU. We're just still controlled by the same New World Order cabal. In the union or out the union doesn't seem to matter at the end of the day. All right. Just oh, that's Lewis. He's a father of the germ theory. Here he is doing a Masonic handshake. If you remember, there's been a lot of people throughout history that have done that kind of pose. I believe. Excuse me. I believe what's his name? The Pope Francis. He did that. The previous Pope. Here's something about Israel and Gaza, and it's the idea particularly. Brigadier General Ran Kochov works for the IDF, and Brigadier General Iran Ortal worked for the Dado Center. Both are part of the Royal United Service Institute, which is a think tank in King's College in London, and in turn under Chatham House. So again, these people that you see in the media, these military types, these pundits or whoever, none of them have any kind of independent thought. Oh, the September 30th thing, you were talking about this, wasn't you? UTK, uniting the kingdom. Mega, make Europe great again. No, it's more like not make imperialism great again. Yeah, make how about what you're really doing, or you make great again, people? You're gonna make the new world order cabal great again. That's what you're gonna do, really, because they're your handlers. Oh, sorry about that. Facts. Well, thank you. Thank you. That's very nice. Nice of you. Nice of you to say. Normally, I don't. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I do follow David Icke, even though I know this guy is an absolute shill and an absolute gatekeeper, and quite possibly an FTM. But a lot of information that he does mention is not wrong. He's not wrong in saying it. He's very good at articulating what's going on. So there are some controlled opposition that are better than others. But it doesn't mean I'm going to recommend his website or his books, because I'd rather not, to be honest. But says Musk is moving on with the UK with the Theo Vance AI Palantir control cabal as he moved in onto MAGA in the US. You're going to hear more from Musk winding up people in the UK. Well, that's what's going. That's what the whole thing's going. That's what Musk is doing. They're setting the precedent for some right civil war situation. I probably just said what he was saying. Yeah. There are. I mean, it's true. People have a right to be. There are a lot of things to be unhappy about. A lot of things. He says, just be careful who you follow and who you give your power to. Well, obviously, I'll say it again. David Icke's one of those people that you got to be careful to follow. He might as well be talking about himself. Tommy Robinson's the same. You shouldn't follow him either. That's what voting is ultimately. You're giving your power away. You're not helping your country by voting. You're just giving your power away. Because these people always say they're going to make change for you, they're going to do good things for you, but the opposite happens, doesn't it? I mean, look here. I mean, this is the video I took on TikTok. Donald Trump signing executive orders saying he will implement a 1-year jail penalty for anyone burning the American flag. I often thought burning a flag of any kind was free speech, as long as the person that does it doesn't hurt anyone else. Like, he doesn't physically attack someone with a burning flag, for example. That would be violent. Again, yeah, Trump says he's in favor of he's in favor of free speech, then he wants to do that. How do you square that off, people? How? Tell me. How do you just justify violating free speech like that? How? You tell me. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a conspiracy theorist. I'm a nutter, aren't I? That's what you say, aren't you? I was going to bring that up, but I don't know if I would want to. Yeah, I'm not going to bring up this topic too much. I'm just going to say one simple thing. I'm sure you're aware there's been a lot of talk about the so-called grooming gangs, which involved individuals from a particular community, the Pakistani community, even though there are grooming gangs of all kinds, not just from one particular community. Their own data from the last conservative government even highlighted there's grooming gangs from other communities, not just one particular community. But it's interesting that grooming gangs in gematria. Now, gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words that goes all the way back to Kabbalah, 6th century BC. The idea that the world was created using letters and numbers, and with any word or phrase, you can define numbers, different numbers from different ciphers. So I was gonna bring up an article I came across about the grooming gangs thing, but I think I'll do it another time. I don't think I'll do it now. But let me just say this: there might have been some crime going on with grooming gangs, but I think when they highlight a story to a certain extent, you have to question whether the whole story is a psyop itself, or they're just trying to once again play with your mind, play with your emotions, which is what they do. Yeah, I mean, all they do this it's just tiptoe. They're just tiptoeing towards a situation where you just can't say anything. Almost anything you can't say. I mean, it's like during the lockdown years. They said, trust the science, trust us, and all that shit. Trust us. They say, trust us. We know what we're saying. We are the authority. You have to say, show us what? Yeah, that's yeah. I like that word. It's not used. I mean, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but that's a good word. Social engineering. Like, yeah, that's what they're doing. Yeah, then you got this MP. He's paying himself. Yeah, I think I don't know if Ponjo's done a exposure on him. This guy's talking about so-called grooming gangs. He talked about 85 local authorities were blah 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 blah. Didn't do anything to stop what's going on. Well, there is a reason for it. There's a reason why nothing was done, which is an entirely different story. Let's just say, in some instances, there was the intelligence services infiltrating these gangs, these grooming gangs, and instead of stopping them halfway, they just let it go on and on until they did do something. But again, the story might still be a psyop. But since we're on the topic, I wasn't going to mention it, but now that it's here, I'm going to go into it now. I wasn't going to do this. This is from a guy called Miles Mathis. Miles Mathis runs a website Yeah, type in Miles Mathis. You know the word mile with an S, and Mathis, which is Mathis, Mathis, Miles Mathis. So he exposes a lot of events as being, hoaxes or fakes or staged. I mean, these are pictures that you've seen, but you have to question how many of these pictures are actually real or AI generated. So let's start with let me start with here. Let me start with what he says here. This. I want to make it short because I really wasn't going to carry on for this long. All promoted mainstream stories are fake, including this one. It is a perfect men or pig storyline. What he means by men or pigs, he also added in his other articles. The whole Diddy thing. Who else? Yeah, Diddy, Epstein, R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, all these famous celebrities, Bill Cosby, all these famous celebrities being accused of crimes they did or did not do. It says it's all part of the story of men or pigs. It does. I mean, it does portray men in a very negative light. It does. No one can deny this. And look at the numerology. He spotted the numerology here. Like, 11-year-old girls. Yeah, for example, I'm not gonna read that out. By these so-called gangs in small-town England just for fun, not 10-year-olds, notice, or 12-year-olds. He's highlighting the number 11, number which is important to those to the secret societies who are obsessed with numerology. And this is an old article I'm reading to YouTube. It's relevant. Check that link article that was like 0 hedge for 8 to go with our 11. Sure enough, we found that Elon Musk's response has generated 11.8 thousand responses. Leon generated 199.8 responses. 8,000 responses. It's like promoting the fake event in 2021 where some people drove through London with Palestinian flags, honking and bull hunting. No, I'm not going to read that out. There's some parts I'm not going to read out. And then he's like challenges the people that are skeptical. Want proof? Well, I can show you easy visual proof. And by the way, this guy has a background in science. So he sort of knows how to decipher photographs. Guess what? It's AI generated fake. Easiest point of the entry. Go to the photos for Accrington, supposedly to be 3 guys, right? Except that the first 2 are the same person. Yeah. Notice. Yeah, they do look similar. The ears look similar. The computer has manipulated the image to produce 2 people. Again, look, there's another picture. Again, looks fake, don't it? That's what he's saying anyway. From Newcastle. MI5 should have put his asses better, but don't worry about it. But don't worry about Ellie. Joe Biden will pardon her for giving her a Liz Cheney medal. This is Caroline. Was it Caroline Gallen? Who's supposedly the procurers for the Newcastle groomers below. The first photo of her tells you that what the script writers think of you. We've seen before. How many groomers were in the Newcastle gang? Come on, 18. One of those guys who made an outburst in the dummy car is named Hussein. Surely you know surely you saw that coming. Northumbria police were involved, of course, since they admit at least one of the guys was an asset. So in this other case of grooming gangs in Newcastle, one of them was an asset, intelligence asset. He's been informed for 21 months, but then shut it down 21 months earlier. No answer. The real reason they didn't shut it down because it never happened. Government agents like the fake 9/11 hijackers. Same with Jess Phillips now declining open national investigation on grooming gangs. She knows it's all an MI5 project. That's what he's alleging, Miles Mathis, that the whole thing was a project. Now it says here that the children's services supposedly knew what was going on and they ignored it. He reckons the reason why all these different stories about, you know, mistreatment of children or grooming gangs or care system and all that, the reason why these things were ignored because they were, according to him, an MI5 project. I mean, here's the numbers again: 18, 11, 17, 81. As usual, the usual numerology as always. And we already know this is fate since the accused should have been tried separately. You only try people together who did the exact same thing to the exact same people, and these didn't. So there's more here, but I think I'm gonna leave it now. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Yeah, I think I went on for too long. I wasn't gonna go for too long. Thanks for joining me. I think I got a lot of comments today. Never had that many comments in a while. I think 3 people tuned in, 5 people liked it. I appreciate it. I hope those that were Tommy Robinson fans, I hope I educated them as to why I believe hope they understand why I believe he is controlled opposition. But if not, I can't help you. That's your problem. You're going to have to wake up yourself. I can't wake you up. Anyway, my goal really used to be about waking people up. Now all I want to do is share information and spread it as much as I can. That's all I do. So in my honest opinion, I don't care if you don't wake up. I don't want to say this, but I'll say it. I don't care I don't care if you don't want to wake up or you wake up, because at the end of the day, nothing's going to be done because too many of us, quite frankly, are too asleep to figure it out what's going on, and we're just going to keep on marching towards this satanic Baphomet Antichrist Dajjal police state. I'm using all those different words because that's what we watch. Which is digital currency, a digitized system. So